All right, on to the Glock 42. Here we go. Mag did not lock back. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Lit Up, a channel about anything outdoors. And today we have the battle between the 380 handguns. That is the Glock 42 versus the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. Now, recently, the Bodyguard 2.0 has actually made a pretty good name for itself compared to the Gen 1 version of it, or the 1.0, which is just a complete trash version of the Bodyguard. But the 2.0 pretty much fixes every issue that the 1.0 had. And yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Which one is better? Which one do I prefer? The Glock 42, which I've had for quite a while now, or the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, which is one of my newer guns, actually. So I think first thing that we should do is actually just kind of compare the overall feel, comfort, and look of these two guns. So to start it off, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, the barrel length is 2.75 inches with an overall length of 5.5 inches compared to the Glock 42, which the barrel length is 3.25 inches with an overall length of 5.94 inches. So the Bodyguard is definitely smaller, easier to carry, conceal, especially during the heat of summer where you're just able to throw a shirt right over it. Definitely will not print with the Bodyguard. Now, for the Bodyguard's overall comfort of the grip, it's unbelievable. You kind of have more of the American angled grip, which I think just is so much more comfortable than, I guess you could say, like the foreign angled grip. It just feels more like a 1911. Very, very comfortable. Also some nice grip texture there, so you definitely don't have to add anything to the grip, like Talon grips or anything. Also, the Bodyguard comes with two magazines. One is a 10-round magazine, and the other is a 12-round magazine, which is definitely an improvement compared to the Glock 42. Now, the Glock 42's grip angle, more of that foreign grip, it's kind of feels a little awkward, especially if you go from like a 1911 to a Glock. It seems like when you go to aim down sight, the gun's kind of pointing more up. You have more of an aggressive angle there, so you kind of have to angle your wrist a little more down, point the gun more down. Also, the grip texture is awful on the Glock 42. The second I bought this thing, it almost actually slipped out of my hand. So the first thing I said is like, well, I'm gonna have to pick up some type of Talon grips, which I did. Put some rubberized grips on there. Then moving on, the Glock 42 comes with two 6-round magazines. So once again, the Bodyguard takes that category. You definitely get more capacity out of the Bodyguard with a 10-round magazine and a 12-round magazine compared to two 6-round magazines, which is essentially carrying a revolver at that point. The crazy thing too is that the Bodyguard's magazine is actually no bigger than the Glock 42. They're essentially the same exact size, so I don't know why Glock could not make an 8 or 9 round magazine. So definitely, once again, that category goes to the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. I think the majority of people would want to carry more rounds in their gun. So now for the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard's trigger, you kind of have this flat face trigger, which is very, very comfortable with a trigger pull weight of around 4.5 pounds, which is pretty, it's actually decently light. Feels really good. The reset's a tad bit long, but that's all right. The trigger pull is very, very short, or very, very light, I guess you could say. So that's really good. Compared to your Glock 42, which is pretty much a standard Glock trigger. They all pretty much feel the same. Now the trigger pull weight on this is around, yeah, 5.5 pounds. So on the Bodyguard, you get 1 pound less trigger pull weight, which once again, the Bodyguard is taking that category. I also want to mention that the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard does have a trigger safety, so that's really good. Along with the Glock 42, same thing, has a trigger safety, so you know, nothing new there. Now for the iron sights, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard iron sights has a true glow front sight, which is really nice, because in pitch black at night in your house, you can pick that dot up, it glows in the dark, which is really nice. And then you have a nice blaze orange ring around that, so very easy to pick that sight up even in the daytime. And also, the rear sight, really like this, is the big U-shaped rear sight. Easy to pick up the front sight. I definitely like how more companies are kind of going that route. And then the Glock 42, you have your standard Glock sights. They're not really highly looked upon in the gun community. I think a lot of people dislike these sights, and I think it's time for Glock to move on to something different. Maybe get like a third party like True Glow or something like that. Just kind of spice it up a bit, Glock, you know what I mean? Now also on the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, you have some nice slide serrations on the front and rear. Very easy to get a grip of that and rack it if need be, or the back. So that is really good. Now for the Glock 42, you have your standard Glock serrations, very vertical, not really aggressive. They still work, nothing really wrong with them, but damn flies. But nothing to the front, just flat, smooth, slide there. So you can still grab it, obviously, if you pinch very hard, but it's always nice to have that extra grip if need be, especially if you are, let's say, only operating with one hand. Can definitely, those slide serrations on the Bodyguard could definitely catch your belt or your shoe if you are one arm less. I forgot to mention on kind of like the grip style and the comfort of these guns is that the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard is, of course, you know, a 10-round mag like I explained, and then a 6-round mag. Like I explained before, they are very similar in size and length. And the thing is that the flush mag, the flush 10-round mag in the Bodyguard, even with that on, you're still able to get your pinky on the grip, which is very nice. Unlike the Glock 42, I actually had to add these pinky extenders on this to actually get my pinky on the gun and make it a little more comfortable. But without that, it's just a flush magazine, and your pinky hangs off the bottom of the mag well there, and it's quite annoying. I think most people can agree with that they don't really like their pinky hanging off the end of it. So once again, kind of a point goes to the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard there. All right, guys, so that's all fine and dandy. The Smith & Wesson is very comfortable. It's easy to hold, easy to shoot, everything like that. But is it reliable, right? That's the biggest question when it comes to weapons. Your gun can look great and feel great, but if it doesn't shoot and it continuously has malfunctions, it ain't worth shit, in my opinion. So the thing is that the Glock 42 is actually my primary summer carry. I like to carry the Glock 42 in the summer. Very slender gun, easy to carry, throw a shirt right over, no printing. Very nice. So I've had this for quite a while, the Glock 42, and I've shot it definitely over 500 rounds through the gun. And I can comfortably say that there have been no malfunctions except for the slide not locking back on the magazines. You probably saw that in the videos. So both magazines that the gun came with, the slide does not lock back. I don't know if I was just unlucky with this buy or with these magazines, but on my gun, the magazines do not lock back the slide. So that can kind of be an issue for some people, especially if they want to do some quick slide lock reloads. I think everyone can agree that slide lock reloads are easier and faster, especially in the heat of battle. But yes, overall, the Glock 42, extremely reliable. You know, that's pretty standard for Glock. Glock is extremely reliable. I think everyone knows that. But for the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, I haven't put enough rounds through this to actually determine how reliable it is or have like a really good comparison of reliability between the Bodyguard and the Glock. I put definitely over 100 rounds through this gun today, and within those 100 rounds, there wasn't a single malfunction, so that's a very good start. But I haven't put nearly enough rounds through it compared to the Glock 42. But like I said, very good start. Now, which gun would I prefer? Well, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough because the beautiful thing about Glock is that you always have that comfort of just reliability. Glock is just known for being a very reliable gun. But to me, the Smith & Wesson beats the Glock in every aspect, in every single category, when it comes to comfort, when it comes to shooting the gun, when it comes to capacity, when it comes to slide serrations and sight picture, everything about, even size of the gun, everything with the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard is better than the Glock 42. It's just I don't really know about reliability. Like I said, I haven't shot it enough. So yes, I think I'm actually going to be switching to the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. I have not yet picked up a holster for it because I actually want to test it out and shoot it first. But yes, I think I will be converting to the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard for my summer carry now over the Glock 42. Now, I just want to say this. There is nothing wrong with the Glock 42. It's a beautiful gun. It shoots great. But like I said, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard just beats the Glock in every aspect, especially when it comes to capacity. And that's a very, very big thing for people. You have a 10 round and 12 round capacity magazines compared to 6 rounds. And like I said before, you might as well be carrying a revolver at that point. So with all that said, that's pretty much going to sum up the video right there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped in any way. Make sure to like or dislike the video, comment down below, and subscribe. Thanks.